Welcome to day 62 of the 100 Days of Me challenge. Meditation, exercise, and self-expression. And today for self-expression, I want to share with you about racism and how I grew up a racist and how I was healed from that. I made a post and how this topic came about on my mind. I have a piece of land that I'm buying, and normally when I buy houses, I never look into the deed restriction because I'm not making any changes to the deed restriction. However, now that I'm doing land, I have to look into deed restrictions to see what I can and cannot do with these properties. And I came across a deed restriction that has a line. The very first paragraph says, never shall there, you're allowed to sell properties in this, something to the effect of, you're never allowed to sell properties in this neighborhood to anyone that's not of white race. And when I saw that, that shocked me because I've never seen anything like that. I mean, obviously, we all know that racism used to exist here in America, right? We had the, white and color, right? So I knew that. And I've even seen some of that in that movie, The Banker. So I know that, but to see it on a property that I'm buying is just like, it was shocking to me. And so I posted, I just posted on my Facebook wall today, and and so it got me thinking, like, because how I grew up learning about racism, and how my own personal journey got me, being I would say being racist against black people, right? Growing up in Vietnam, my family were originally from North Vietnam, and my parents migrated to South Vietnam back in the 50s, so the South Vietnamese were very racist against the North Vietnamese because our accent's very different. And so growing up my whole life, I often get made fun of because of my my accent, my northern accent. Because since our family was from the north, and when we moved to the south, we live in a neighborhood that everyone in that neighborhood were also from the north. So the accents stuck. Yeah, the accent stuck with us. And so I learned about racism then, the difference between North and South, and even Middle. The North and South are racist against the Middle. I don't know if the Middle are against racist against the North and the South or not, but that's just like within Vietnam itself, right? And and then the when back when the war was going on, back when the Vietnam War was going on, a lot of the American soldiers that came to came to Vietnam, they hang out the harbor and stuff. Anyways, there were a lot of prostitutes there, and so when those when kids were born of mixed race, they were very prejudiced against, in Vietnam. They were prejudiced against those kids, and they talked badly about them because they just assumed that those kids' moms were prostitutes. So regardless if their mom, naturally fell in love with, an American soldier or not, it was irrelevant. If you're of a mixed race, you automatically get put into this category that your mom is a prostitute. So there was a lot of racism that was going on with those kids in Vietnam. And then somewhere along the way, I don't know when or where, but there was this negative thing around Black American in my growing up. And when I first came to America, sixth grade, I was living in a neighborhood that was a project. It's a government-funded apartment like Section 8 type housing apartment, and there were a lot of black people there, and there were a lot of Asian people that were there too, that first migrated to America. And I every time, it was, for me, it was, as a kid, sixth grade, right, it was always very scary to walk. There's two different routes that I can walk to school, and one route I would have to go through like this black area within the apartment, and there's another route that I can go to, which is like out on the open street. It's a longer route, but it was safer because it's out in the open, and I'm not having to go through the sort of this little black community within that subdivision, within that apartment. And in the Vietnamese culture, whenever there's Lunar New Year, Chinese New Year, we get the gifts that we receive is money. And the safest place I knew to keep my money was in my school locker. And one day I decided to bring the money home, and I was walking home with a friend of mine, and I was like, you know what? I have money with me. Let's not walk, the shorter route that goes through this little, let's not go through this community. Let's go through the main route instead of this community, the main route instead to get home. So I walked the main route. Anyways, my friend and I, we got mugged by two other young black boys. They probably were our age, but they were bigger than us, and they took, they basically mugged us and took my money. It was $37, and that was a lot of money for me back then, right? As a young kid, and from that experience, on top of the racism that I've learned growing up with, from that experience, I just I have a hard time trusting black people. And and so I live, I don't know, 30 years that way, okay? I don't know how many years, but it was a long time, until I was in a personal development seminar one time, and I was in a my dog's trying to get out here, buddy. I was in a personal development seminar one time, and we had a group exercise that we did, where we got in a small group. There were 6 of us in the group. There's me. There was a Hispanic gentleman, and there were like 4 black ladies, I believe. I think they were all ladies. Anyways. And the exercise for that small group was to share, what gets in our way of connecting with others. Okay, so a simple exercise, and then when it was my turn to share, I share about the story how I got mugged, and how that cost me, like how that kind of I don't know what it's called, but created that trigger in me, right? That I have a hard time trusting black people. And when I was sharing my story, the lady next to me, she's a black lady next to me, kind of pushed my arm like this and said, "Now give me all your money." And in that moment, she shocked me, and in NLP, it's called pattern interrupt. So she interrupted my pattern of this story that I created why I can't trust black people, right? She interrupted that pattern, and from that moment on, I was healed from that. We're talking about 20-something years, right, of this beliefs that I grew up with, was healed from that little thing that she did. So I'm so grateful that she did that. And I'm sharing with you that story to share that, a lot of times we look down on people who are racist, right? We think something's wrong with them, that they're bad, they're wrong, and you know, and I want to kind of bring a different perspective to the people who are racist. Now, are there bad people? I'm sure they are. Okay, bad people exist whether they're racist or not. Okay, I mean that's just that's just the you know the nature that the world that we live in, right? And you know and now I don't want to get down the road of like, are there truly bad people, right? Because none of us were born bad. We might have been born sick, we mentally, physically, or but I believe that a lot of people who are racist are actually not racist because they wanted to be racist. They're racist because of their upbringing, right? It could be their culture that they grew up with. Who knows? They could have grew up in a KKK family. And and so we don't really know. And racism is just not just black and white. I mean, even within, I know, like even within the Vietnamese community, right? How dark your skin is, or how light your skin is matters, right? So I know that Vietnamese people they like to have lighter skin than dark skin, right? So darker skin is looked down upon, and I've heard this in the in the black community too. How if you have lighter skin, you're looked down upon by the people with the darker skin, right? So racism exists like in every culture, in subcultures. It's not just black and white, and yeah, and it's it's what was I gonna yeah. So the point being is that I don't think that I want to bring a new perspective to and a new compassion to the people who are racist. I don't condone racism at all. I do wish and pray that they are healed from that, and I also can bring compassion to it because I don't know what their upbringing is like. I don't know what they were taught, right? I don't know what their personal experience is. I don't know if they got mugged like I did, or or whatever that might have happened to them that caused that, right? And so yeah, so I just want to share that. I know this is a much longer video than I normally do on these, but it's a hot topic for me right now for today, just because of what I saw in the deed restriction. So I wanted to share that and bring a perspective of that to the conversation. So with that, it's time for my my push-up part of the challenge, right? If you haven't started yours yet, yours could be day one for you today. Basically, 100 days of meditation, exercise, any kind of exercise you want to do. For me, it's going walks in nature and doing my push-ups, and then self-expression. For me, it's doing these videos, sharing my ideas, thoughts. Whatever's on my mind, and for you it could be painting, drawing, whatever that lifts you up, whatever that inspires you, go do that. So with that, let's do my push-ups. And all right, hold on, you want to join me, okay? I'll put my head, okay, buddy, you want to be on camera? Okay, let me do it where you can see, buddy. Let's do push-ups. Ready? Ready? 62. 62 it is. Thanks for watching. I love you. See ya.